Donk Nation, Jax and Janet's greetings and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you some Steelers talk on the bye week after the hallelujah high. Make you want to cry in the first half, make you absolutely happy if you died in the second half. It's a Steelers win over the Ravens. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but Gingy, it's Steelers, it's Ravens. It's never perfect.
Gingy in the house. Here we go, Steelers. Not even close to perfect, Donkey. Just about a heartbreaker, right at the end. All kinds of problems on both sides. Both teams looking pretty sloppy, but that's Steelers-Ravens, right? Tough. We talked about it being a snot knocker.
It was your throwback snot knocker, although honestly, neither team really forcing the run, which benefits the Steelers when you play away from the run here, play away from the run there. But Gingy, there is a blonde-haired little child who can't hold on to the football that needs some Gorilla Glue, or better yet, just a pink slip. How is Gunnar Olszewski still on this football team? I can think back to at least 3 games he's almost single-handedly lost, and I can't think of a single positive moment.
No doubt, Donkey. I have no idea. I mean, that return, actually, that he was on was starting to look good until, ball came right out, inopportune time. Yeah, I have no idea. There's got to be somebody on that roster more suited for that type of work.
That's for sure. I mean, my breakdown goes like this, Gingy. You take away the special teams play of him. Steelers offense doesn't make a mistake. That's huge in these games. The teams that make mistakes tend to lose. So Steelers offense, a plus, no mistakes. The Steelers coaches were the plus. I mean, Harbaugh's decision to not kick a field goal at the end of the half, are you crazy in this rivalry where 3 points is always a premium? You don't kick the field goal, that's plus the Steelers coaching. And let's say this, the fumble by Olszewski hurts a lot, but the game-changing moment by the S-tier player we didn't talk about last week. Yes, the Steelers have one of those on special teams. Miles Killebrew, Gingy. That had to be the game-changing moment, right?
Massive, massive moment, Donkey. Couple of them throughout, though. Really, Ravens gave that game away in many positions. Don't forget about Joey Porter Jr.'s interception in the end zone. They score a touchdown there, Donkey. It's just about over.
Hadn't got to the end yet, but yes, Peasy Jr. will make a part here.
Yeah.
Gigi, should we go to the end of this? Let's talk about it. How about a just recently brought up practice squad tight end that a lot of people thought might make the team? I don't know why his name's slipping me right now, but he's the guy who almost recovered the fumble in the end zone. But that's not why he's important. Do you know the only guy who had an opportunity to make the tackle on Gunnar Olszewski's fumble is this kid? He comes up, he makes a clutch tackle, which sets up, arguably, game moment number 2. Peasy Jr. in the corner of the end zone. Why the hell are the Ravens attacking the only Pittsburgh Steeler corner that's capable of covering Gingy?
And not to mention, I don't believe that one-on-one with OBJ in the corner is what it used to be either.
He does not have the ups he used to have due to the knee injuries. And let's be honest, that was not a good throw by Lamar.
Terrible throw. Way, way inside. Really gave his receiver no shot at really getting that. Joey Porter Jr. in excellent position, though, of course. Give him the credit.
Gingy, we'd be amiss if we didn't end this recap on the play that actually won the game, though. We're talking the young gun Steelers, the Pickett to Pickens connection, showing up large in the Ravens-Steelers rivalry. Was it a perfect game prior to then? Hell no. Kenny Pickett gets to the line, switches his lineman up, shifts that, blocking scheme a little bit to give himself a little more time, looks over there and yells, Randy, Randy, Randy! A homage to the great Randy Moss telling, yo, Pickens, you better fly. The Ravens are known to go zero coverage. Zero coverage comes. Pickens torches it. Pickett with the dime. That's all the Steelers need. Wine it, dine it, touchdown victory. Steelers, let's go, Gingy.
That's what I'm talking about, Donkey. That's all I was going to say. Randy. That's all you need to know.
Pissed off Matt Canada because, well, that's not how he drew it up in the trash can that he came out of.
Now that, Donkey, that's a heck of a narrative.
Dude,
when
you're the only person not celebrating in the coach's box, get the damn stick out your booty.
Do you believe that that's the reason why? I mean, you could describe a lot of things there.
I believe that Matt Canada's stick is so far up his booty hole that, yeah, that's very possibly the reason why.
Holy smokes, that's really disappointing if that's true. I don't know.
Let's just say it.
Be sure.
I know when he was at Pitt, he rubbed a lot of people this way. And if you listen to the comments he's made to the media about the fans and stuff, dude, he is that guy. He is that type of personality.
That's disappointing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's disappointing if that's the case. That's only more... Donkey, I've never heard a fan base so dissatisfied with a coach. They chanted "Fire Canada" at a hockey game, at a Pens game, Donkey. That's the Yinzer Nation speaking loud right there.
We are 3-2. You're not going to pull me down from feeling happy. 3-2, 2 big division wins, sitting on top, getting into the bye week, getting back our premier pass catcher. You're not going to make me sad, but I'm not going to lie, dude. Matt Canada is the worst offensive coordinator I have extendedly watched in the NFL.
Almost makes you think about wanting Todd Haley back.
I'll tell you who I want, and his name was linked as he's reaching out to the Steelers, is Byron Leftwich, because Byron Leftwich tutored under Bruce Arians the last time this team was aggressive.
Yup. I thought the exact same thing, Donkey. Out of Tampa, come on home. Come on home,
but you know it ain't going to happen because Mike Tomlin is never going to hire an Arians guy because Mike Tomlin ran Arians out of town, let's be honest, Gingy.
I don't know. More speculation, but maybe.
All right. Well, either way, we don't have to speculate. That game was amazing. The Steelers are on top of the division. We'll get into some of the nitty-gritty parts of how this team isn't living up to potential or is exceeding potential when we talk about the bye week. But, Gingy, we like to do a little version of the recap there, and then we like to get some opinions, some hot takes going in nickels or dimes, cash or trash. Are you ready to get it started?
Let's go, Donkey.
All right, we're going to start with a little fun one at the top, and it's going to be on special teams. Part A, and you can answer it the same way, or you can break it into it. But part A is Gunnar Olszewski should never see the football field again because he is literally the biggest liability in the NFL. And part B is we don't talk about special teams a lot, but Big Chewin' Bubblegum has himself a player in Miles Killebrew, and this is a guy that we do not give enough credit to. Gingy, cash or trash on both those takes?
Oh, first one, Donkey? I don't know. I might have to trash you on a technicality. I don't care if he sees the football field again, just not in black and yellow.
All right, fair.
All right. But I'll give you a cash on I don't want to see him on our football field no more. Not this one. He can go wherever else and do not a hater, Donkey. Maybe. He was good in New England. Right? I didn't see these problems. I did not see these handsy fumble-rooski problems in New England. Okay, so maybe it's just time for him to find a new start somewhere else. I don't know. So we'll cash it. We'll cash it in on that. And then number 2, an underutilized Killebrew. I'll cash that. He's a big playmaker. Is that what you were asking, Donkey? Underutilized?
It's close, but underappreciated was the word used, not utilized.
Well, okay, I'll give you.
We use him quite well.
I'll give you a big cash on that. Definitely unappreciated. Heck, we missed it. We even missed talking about him in the big plays last week. But if we recount last year and this year, single-handedly having big game-changing plays, Donkey. Cash on the unappreciated.
Fair enough. Now let's get into offense. We're going to start take one on the take I know you want to talk about. Matt Canada-led offenses in the Pittsburgh Steelers Nation has now reached 40 games. That is 40 games since the Pittsburgh Steelers have had 400 yards. Because remember, the last game Randy Fichtner was offensive coordinator was that terrible loss to Cleveland in the playoffs. But Ben Roethlisberger threw for 500 yards. He alone has put up 100 more yards than this team ever has under Matt Canada. Now that might sound But Donkey, is that really a stat that matters? Let's put it to this way. No other team in the NFL has not had at least 100 yards in either of the last 2 seasons. This year, there are only four teams in the AFC that haven't had a 100-yard game. Or 400-yard game, a 400-yard game. That is the Denver Broncos, the Las Vegas Raiders, the New England Patriots, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Bengals had 399 yards, but doesn't count. Okay. When you look at this, every other team has multiple 400-yard games. When you're talking good offenses, you're talking at least 4+ in a season. Gingy, cash or trash, it is, in fact, Matt Canada's scheme that is preventing the Steelers' offense from being explosive.
Ooh. Donkey, I'd have to cash that in based on what I'm seeing right now. Now, there are some injuries on the offensive side of the ball. I'll be excited to see what happens when Deontay's back, perhaps Pratt Freiermuth back. Add that into the equation with Pickens. Warren becoming super explosive, running like a beast last week. Love that.
He runs if I could put that dude's dog in Najee Harris, boy.
Yeah, that'd be a different player. But yeah, I mean, I see pieces that might be explosive, but, I don't know what they really are under this offense where it's all, I want to see more. Listen, and if we're going to talk about screens and dink and stink, right? How about a wide receiver screen to Pickens every once in a while? We used to throw him to Antonio Brown, get a ball in the playmaker's hands.
I hear you, but Pickens within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage is god-awful. Deontay comes back. I expect you'll see those in the hand of Deontay. And I would rather see Pickens being the blocker because I'm going to be honest, that dude, when he wants, he can block pretty darn good.
Well, let me see it then, Donkey. I'd like to see some more action, and yeah, definitely not explosive. The only explosive play we saw the whole game was the Randy audible.
Yeah,
Randy check at the line.
Yeah, let Kenny call his plays, and magic seems to happen. That dude does seem to have that clutch vibe. Just like to see it a little earlier, because a blowout on our side would be fun. Gingy, let's get to point number 2. Mason Cole is struggling in the center of this line. Herbig hasn't looked great replacing James Daniel. Chuck Okorafor is who he is. Isaac Seumalo had a really good game playing beside injury-inserted Broderick Jones. That left side needs to be Broderick Jones and Isaac Seumalo going forward. Those two are the only 2 pluses on this offensive line. But Gingy, that is not the statement I want to make here. In order for this offensive line to improve, it has to start in the center. James Daniels has been a center before. When James Daniels comes back, he should be starting at center, cash or trash.
Oh, Donkey, I'm unprepared for that. Where did James Daniel play center at?
When he was a spot starter here at the beginning of his Chicago career, he played center in guard. He also did it in college. He's a guy who can snap the football.
Oh, boy. Why not, Donkey? I'll cash that in on a hot take. Let's see it. It can't be much worse than Mason Cole, can it?
Oh, it's hopefully not Kendrick Green bad. I mean,
whoa.
We've had some misses, and you've heard Donkey bound on the table 2 years in a row for centers who have both turned into Pro Bowl centers, and Dickerson and Creed Humphrey. And by God, if I'm banging on the table again next year and we don't take him, chalk it up. Go to the damn ticket booth and punch that guy at whatever odds he is to make the Pro Bowl. Because that just seems to be the way it is right now.
Seems all right, that way, Donkey.
Let's keep it going here. Let's keep talking about injured players coming back. Deontay Johnson, with his butt getting fanned by a towel boy, because apparently that's what Mike Tomlin wants to have happen, should be back after the bye week. Deontay Johnson is, in fact, the Steelers' number 1 wide receiver for a reason. The dude has put up numbers. And say what you want. Yes, unforced errors happen all the time. The dude is good at getting open, Gingy. That is something the Steelers lack. In fact, what I'm going to say here is, after Deontay Johnson comes back, Gingy, this Steelers passing attack will average over 220 yards a game. Cash or trash?
220?
Yeah.
220. I'll cash that in, Donkey. I like it. Like we're not getting a ton aside from, the deep play to pick. It's not a ton of yak. What I'm seeing, Deontay Johnson, as long as he's not running backwards, is the yak guy on the Pittsburgh Steelers at yards after catch.
If you
we
counted
really need that
lateral
dynamic.
yak, he would be the best in football.
Yes, well, okay. Well, unforced errors, Donkey. We don't need to go there again. But yeah, I'd love to see some of them yak yards added to that passing total, and I think we could see that when Deontay comes back. Cash that in, Donkey.
I hope so. Gingy, let's keep it going here. Offensive side, not injury take, but a backup outperforming a starter potentially. Jaylen Warren makes this team look different. That offense is explosive. That offense is fun. That offense seems to be creative when he's in there. Gingy, cash or trash, the Steelers want to win games offensively going forward. Jaylen Warren needs to be in at least 40% of the snaps.
Oh boy, at least 40%. Donkey, I
That's
like that. We're last week I was trashing a lot, but this week, Donkey, I'm cashing a lot of them in. I really like the dual-headed running attack. It keeps Najee fresh. It keeps Jaylen fresh. We are able to scheme differently with both guys. Both guys have different strengths, different weaknesses. I like it split down the center.
All right. Gingy, last one on offense here. We're going to stay with the running backs, but we're going to stay a little different here. We know the Pittsburgh Steelers like to fundamentally try ridiculous people in ridiculous positions, like Kendrick Green at fullback. However, someone odd at fullback to me sounds like a good idea. What if the Steelers were to go I formation with Najee Harris as the fullback, so Najee doesn't have time to dance in the hole, instead has to hit it straight? Gingy, cash or trash, if the Steelers ran Najee as a fullback in the I formation, he would see his yards per carry increase.
Oh, I'm going to have to trash that one, Donkey. I don't think the line can sustain increased gains constantly for that run game right now. However, you made a statement as to turning people into weird positions, right? All right. Connor Hayward ain't the worst lined up in the tight end position. That adds a little bit of dynamics to the Steelers' offense. For goodness sakes, you might not be able to call the play every time.
The changes are not allowed here. Gingy, that's what I have for offense, so go ahead and hit us with your dime of the week.
Dime of the week on offense, Donkey. What are we going to say? What else is there to say, right? I'm going with George Pickens, 6 receptions, over 100 yards, the only stat line that's really worth a damn. I like what I'm seeing, Donkey. Making contested catches, making tough catches, making plays when he needs to. That's the dime this week. We got to keep that connection going.
True. My dime is always going to be the play I thought was most influential on offense. And this is going to be a two-parter. Miles Killebrew gets it going because the scoring started with him. That is offense. Miles Killebrew with the instant offense from the special teams on the block punt. Huge. And then, of course, the dime, Kenny Pickett, George Pickens. Just beautiful. Touchdown. Game over. Wrap it up. Let's get to the defense here, Gingy. Do you want to start with linebackers? Linebackers are always fun. I know you love some linebackers. So let's talk TJ Watt. Gruesome finger injury. Let's hope nothing bad's there. And Alex Highsmith.
That's going to be surgery.
Let's see. Can we say that this was the second week that those two guys were more responsible for the victory than any other people on the team, and arguably the position group most responsible for the win? Is those two pass rushers. Gingy, cash it or trash it. These two outside linebackers, when you break down the most important position for a win, will be responsible for more wins than any other position group on the team.
More wins than any other position group on the defense, for sure. I'll cash it in, Donkey. That defense, I've been talking about that since the beginning of the season. You let TJ Watt get pressure, and Alex Highsmith has a game on the other side. I don't care if your quarterback's Joe Montana. If he don't have more than 2 seconds to throw the ball and he's hearing them footsteps, he's getting afraid. He's trying to throw a fade ball and throws it 4 yards to the inside and gets picked off by Joey Porter Jr. That's what happens when you rattle these quarterbacks. And that was happening to Lamar last week. So I'll cash that in. That unit is absolutely essential to Steelers' victories moving forward.
That's a good take there. Let's be honest. Let's talk about some bad here. Levi Wallace, Patrick Peterson, again, fifth game getting torched by whoever's lined up across from them, making every Ravens wide receiver look like they are money in the bank in terms of getting open. Not money in the bank, you'll see on the next take. Little PZ Jr. in his little bit of time comes in and makes a splash play. Gingy, not only should PZ Jr. be starting, but in fact, the Pittsburgh Steelers might as well start Minkah Fitzpatrick at left cornerback and PZ Jr. at right cornerback because both Pat Peterson and Levi Wallace cannot hang in the modern NFL. Cash or trash on the Peterson-Wallace not being capable to start in the NFL.
Cash, not capable. Well, I mean, clearly we just beat the Ravens.
They can play a sub-package, guys.
Yeah, I really don't. If you're going to have consistent, sustained success, they are not capable of managing that at this point, Donkey. That's Cash. They're not they're not able to line up against premier guys. For as much as we've talked about the Steelers did last week, obviously, with the Ravens, dropped 7 balls?
That's exactly what the next point is, Gingy. The Baltimore Ravens had 7 accounted for drops, 3 of which were touchdowns, and that doesn't include the rookie Zay Flowers falling on his butt at the 50-yard line when he didn't touch the ball with no one around him because he fell over. Gingy, we have seen this before with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that the opponent's drop pass when playing a good team is the Steelers' best play. As a matter of fact, we saw it in the San Francisco game. The only thing that stopped San Francisco was themselves. They didn't do it very often, but they did it twice. Gingy, going forward, the Pittsburgh Steelers' best pass defense, once again, will be the opponent dropping passes. Cash or trash?
I'm trashing that negativity, Donkey. The number 1 pass defense is going to be that pass rush. Moving forward. Fair. We just talked about it in the last point, okay?
I think you're cheating the system here, though. I want to put that out there.
Well, nobody's surprised about that, are they, Donkey? Come on. we got to give you a little bit here. We got to trash some of your statements today, Donkey, and I'll tell you what. That defense still allowing Lamar Jackson, really putting a blanket on that team. Again, with the drops, okay. But still making plays when they have to and still disrupting that offense enough to get it done. I'm going to trash that. Let the pass rush reign. Okay, and I'll tell you what, when they do get their opportunities though, they're not going to be good on straight lines. I don't think, Donkey. They can't keep up with the speed, right? But I still think that Patrick Peterson is still a high IQ cornerback, in my opinion. Better than Levi Wallace in terms of positioning and figuring out where he needs to be on the field.
If I have to watch him chase one more slow receiver, I'm going to cry.
I don't know what to tell you, Donkey. I'm trying to make a spin out of it, but I told you at the beginning of the season this Steelers pass rush is the most sus I've seen in 15 years.
Pass defense.
Pass defense.
Pass defense, yes. I got you. I know what you're saying. You love the pass rush. Yeah. I got your back on that one. Let's get to point 4 here, Gingy. Middle linebackers. They had a PFF rating of over 80 in Landon Roberts. My God, we haven't seen that in forever. This group of Landon Roberts, Quan Alexander, and Cole Holcomb will continue to be a strength of the Pittsburgh Steelers going forward? Cash or trash?
Cash. I thought those off-season pickups were good, Donkey. They're starting to come to fruition now. Much better position play than we've ever seen from Devin Bush, right? Quan Alexander is like the new Devin Bush.
Yeah, Devin Bush's rookie year, let's not forget, was good. Post-injury Devin Bush, very bad.
Very scary. Yes, the need really messed him up there. But yeah, I love how that unit's operating. We'll talk more about Quan later, having some big sack, couple big plays, big tackles. I like it, Donkey. Cash it in.
All right, Gingy, the last one, since I really didn't know what else to talk about on defense here. We know the Steelers are good at splash plays, but the Steelers are not good at splash decisions when it comes to retaining personnel or coaches. So, Gingy, my biggest question here is keeping guys like Matt Canada going into this year, keeping guys like Gunnar Olszewski when he's failing, letting guys like Dan Moore and Montravis Adams and Patrick Peterson, because they were brought in to be the starters, and not letting the rookies play. All of these decisions have led to me to feeling the Steelers are no longer the cutthroat organization we knew that made Troy Polamalu retire before he wanted to. Cash or trash, with this type of, I don't know what you want to call it, coddling front office coaching play, the Pittsburgh Steelers will not be Super Bowl contenders until they become a cutthroat organization again.
Well, I'll cash that in, Donkey. I think they're headed in the right direction now. Omar Khan is putting this team in the right direction. I've seen a good draft class. I've seen some good off-season moves. I think there's going to be maybe some more cutthroat operations moving forward, but we'll see, Donkey. We'll see.
Fair enough. All right, Gingy, it's a bye week. Is there anything you want to get into before I give you the 3 topics that I would love to discuss while there's no Steeler ball going on?
I will say that at this point in the season, I understand that we're only like 5 games in, but we talked about the juggernaut AFC at the beginning of the season, right? Well, that whole conference looks like it's totally still up for grabs at this point, while the NFC has clearly been dominated by 2 teams at this point. Pretty interesting to me.
Hey, there's a 3rd team in the NFC that hasn't really got a chance to play a juggernaut yet that I'd like to throw out.
The Lions. Don't tell me the Lions, Donkey.
Fine, since I'm not allowed to talk about the 3rd team, am I allowed to talk about the 4th team in the NFC that's been a bit of a surprise?
Sure. Give me the
Tampa Bay
team.
Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield are 3-1. What?
The Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Tell me more, Donkey.
I mean, you look at this team, they have a top-tier offensive skill position unit, right? They got splash players out there on the defense, Gingy, and we know what that can do. And they are playing in a pretty cozy division. This could be a team that sneaks up and surprises some people because there is some firepower there, and you can say what you want. Baker Mayfield does have that ability to put up a magical game. Ask Ohio State. Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baker has the ability to win some big games. This is a team. Now, I know Mike Evans looked like he got hurt. If he comes back and is good, this is a team that has some potential down there.
I hear you, Donkey. It must really chap Cleveland to see Baker down there having some success when they got a quarterback of their own that looks like he injured his shoulder by picking up all that money they paid him.
No, they have a quarterback who saw what the hell San Francisco does and realized he had to fake the injury 3 weeks prior.
I wouldn't want to see Bosa down there either, really. That seems like that's a career decision for you, Donkey.
Yeah, that's why they're not even going to run their poor rookie backup out there, because they're like, we ain't breaking him either. Hey, PJ Walker, you want to make some money? Come here. We got a job for you.
Sacrificial lamb. Serve him up.
For sure. I like that. And no, I totally get you. Honestly, Gingy, I'm going to be honest with you. The San Francisco Niners don't suffer a serious injury. I think it's the San Francisco 49ers and everyone else. Now, let's be honest here. Would you ever, though, really bet against Patrick Mahomes in a one-off situation?
No, when it comes down to it, I did say that AFC is up in the air, but they're still one of the teams there. Donkey, those Chiefs, but I mean, you saw them on third. They're starting to, and maybe this is a crap take, Donkey, but I feel like they're starting to look kind of more like the Steelers did, playing down to opponents rather than dominating teams that they're truly better than and rising to the occasion in the big games.
Gingy. You remember Donkey's feeling on Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, I do.
It is fake football. Don't ever take anything from a Thursday Night Football game. Don't ever take anything from a Thursday Night Football game. Other than that, yeah. My take I want to talk about, Gingy, and before we get into Steelers stuff, is Sean Payton talked a lot of smack on Nathaniel Hackett, takes over Nathaniel Hackett's team, and makes it worse. What the hell is up with coaches who go to the broadcast booth thinking they could come back and be superstars and always looking like hot garbage?
I don't know, Donkey. That the Broncos are weird. They're not just bad, but they're weird. Really bad.
They're highly invested in an offense that's not very good.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. They got Jerry Jeudy out there making one-handed catches that don't work.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird.
I'm not sure there's anything good to say about that stuff going on. Gingy, I'm going to put out my 3 Steeler topics. You tell me where you want to start. We'll talk, 1, the coaching staff. 2, rookies and or backups who need to be seeing the field. And 3, the modern day expectations of players coming into the league and being superstars and not having patience to let a player reach their potential. Which one of the 3 do you want to talk about?
Let's see what's behind door number 3.
That's players going to their potential. You're going to be staring right at the face of the franchise. Kenny Pickett, in his second year, just a full season under his belt now, under the tutelage of Mike Tomlin and Matt Canada, and Mike Sullivan as offensive quarterbacks coach. Kenny Pickett this year, his completion percentage is down, but his touchdown percentage is up from 1.8 to 3.1. That's a vast improvement here. His interception percentage is very similar, 2.3 to 2.5 this year, which averages out to less than 1 a game. His yards per attempt is up from 6.2 to 6.5. One of the big things is PFR likes to have this thing called a success rate, which is 40% of yards needed for a first down on first down, 60% of yards needed for a first down on second down, and all of the yards needed for a first down on third down. If you do that, you get success. Last year, he was at 44%, which is about league average. This year, he's down to 37.6%. Now, let's remember, this whole season has been played without his number 1 pass catcher in Deontay Johnson. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, when you look at these numbers, he's comparable to guys like Josh Allen outside. I mean, the touchdown percentage for Josh Allen was 4.3 his second year. Kenny needs to bring that up by a percentage, right? Which means 1 more touchdown per 100 passes. He needs to bring it up. He's comparable to Baker Mayfield, to Trevor Lawrence, to Dak Prescott if he brings it up there. If he stays down in that 3%, you're talking Jalen Hurts range. Oh my God, I don't want to say this, but you're talking Mac Jones range. But all of that is above a guy like Daniel Jones, who New York thinks is a franchise quarterback. So what I'm trying to say here is when you look at what Kenny Pickett has done into year 2, the numbers are improving a little if you want to look at him. I know a lot of people don't want to look at him because he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. But remember, Josh Allen looked like a guy Buffalo wanted to replace at the start of year 2. Trevor Lawrence got off to a rocky start his first 3 games of year 2 and then just lit it up. What is with this feeling that the quarterback has to be a superstar now? And better yet, Gingy, I'll get a little more into this, but I want your take on this. Why is it a bad thing to have a guy who's just a 15 to 7 quarterback? Not that elite tier. Why is it bad to draft and develop a guy who's a mid-tier quarterback?
Oh boy. A complex question there, Donkey. Well, I think really in terms of NFL, everybody's looking for that selling point, that face of the franchise guy, and quarterbacks are easy to sell, and offense sells. Man, you got a quarterback that puts up 30 points a game. Honestly, that gets people more excited than a defense that only gives up 14 points a game in this now day and age, right? You want to figure out what these quarterbacks are because, gosh darn, if you haven't figured it out by year 4, year 5, you're going to have to take a very, very expensive gamble if you're going to want to retain the guy that you're not quite sure about yet. You're there. You see what I'm saying, right? So that's why I think people are so interested in trying to develop these guys early and see if they're a guy, because by year 4, if you're not sure, you got to move on.
I'm not talking coaching staffs. I'm talking the Steeler Nation here, already labeling Kenny Pickett a bust and saying we already need to start losing games to draft a quarterback. Why in the hell, with a quarterback who had a winning season last year as a starter, has a winning season going on this year, why the hell is Steeler Nation out here giving up on Kenny Pickett, this offense, and this team when we are 3-2 and at the top of the division?
Good question, Donkey. I don't know if I've given up on Kenny Pickett or not. I don't think I give up on anything at week 5, at a bye week, Donkey. I don't think I give up anything, but I tell you what, scary right now. Where it sits, I do not know if Kenny Pickett is the guy. I've seen glimpses. He has the moxie of those game-winning drives last season, right? But he had one play of that this game. Is this, it really looks more and more like it might be coaching scheme. Is Kenny getting utilized to his full potential?
I don't know about that, but this is where it gets fun for me. These people had to be people who absolutely wanted to run Ben Roethlisberger out of town after year 3. I mean, albeit he won a Super Bowl, so I guess he was immortal forever at that point. But I want to show you, year 3 is the first year, by the way, where Ben Roethlisberger threw the ball more than the Steelers ran the ball, which is what's happening every year for Kenny Pickett, right? We are becoming a passing team. I want to show you what a third-year Ben Roethlisberger did when he had to become the guy. You're talking, his touchdown percentage dropped to 3.8, which is close to Kenny's. His interception percentage skyrocketed to 4.9%, Gingy. He only completed 59.7% of his passes. Ironically, that's the same damn number Kenny's at right now. This is a year 3 Roethlisberger with 2 full years as a starter under his belt. His yards per attempt are better than Kenny's. He was at 7.5, but if you remember, his first 2 years, he averaged over 8 yards an attempt. So he actually decreased yards per attempt that third year, and his success rate dropped down to a low for that time at 44.5. And remember, he had a losing record year 3, Gingy. He went 7-8. What I'm trying to say here, and I think it's a huge problem fans are having, look at these guys in the past. Very few were successful right off the bat. More often than not, a guy who was successful right off the bat ended up having a short career. Mitch Trubisky's a great example. It was a flash in the pan, and all of a sudden, it didn't work anymore. What in the heck? Why can't we be calm, be happy that we are developing a quarterback and winning while doing it? Because that's such a hard thing to do, is win while developing a quarterback. I'm not here to say Kenny Pickett's the answer. There's a lot of things he needs to improve on, but I really feel like you watch Kenny Pickett when he has 3 seconds in the pocket, like that Baltimore game, he makes the right decision. He makes a good throw. I'm not saying he's ever going to be a top-tier quarterback. I've already told you, I think he's that mid-tier, that second tier is where his ceiling is. But why in the world do we want to go out and just tank a season and not give a guy a chance just because at year 2 he's not Patrick Mahomes?
I don't want to be that team, Donkey. I'll tell you why, though. I will tell you why. Because in an offense like this one, Kenny Pickett is being asked to do much more because he does not have a Hall of Fame running back and 2 Hall of Fame offensive linemen operating on his team at this point, as Ben Roethlisberger did, I believe, at year 2 and year 3.
No, definitely in year one. Year three was the first year Willie Parker took over full time.
Okay,
And yeah,
okay,
he
so
had
year
such a
two for
terrible
sure.
season, Gingy. He ran for 1,400 yards. Okay, so
That's it's so terrible.
Just gonna throw that out there.
So terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
It's still two Hall of Famer offensive linemen. It wasn't Faneca and Dawson. No, not Pouncey.
No.
Who was center
Pouncey
at that
until
time?
late 2000s.
Yeah,
that might have been the Mahan.
It might have been the Mahan era
type of era,
but still, that offensive line was beastly, much more so than it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have like Max Starks in there. You have good names, Chris Kimuatu. You have good names in there, and that's the point I wanted to talk about too. And here we're talking about not giving players a chance to develop. The heck, we have seen 5 quarters now of Broderick Jones. What in the heck do they see in Dan Moore that makes you think Broderick Jones should not be the cemented starter at left tackle?
I've seen enough of Dan Moore. I've seen plenty of Dan Moore. Plenty. I want to see more of Broderick Jones.
For sure. Him and Simulado actually getting some push out there, giving some holes. That's the stuff that needs to happen. Najee Harris needs to learn to cut it behind these guys, take the yards that are there, put his head down, and use all those 230 pounds he is. Also, in terms, the last one I want to get to in terms of player development here is an old dog for the Steelers. Lev Bell has some advice that maybe is really, really good advice for Najee Harris. He's saying Najee's too fat. I mean, obviously not fat, but too heavy, right? Because Najee shredded like I don't know what you want to call it, a gym rat. Is Lev Bell onto something here? Does Najee Harris need to lose weight for his player development to gain just maybe a half step of speed?
Maybe, Donkey. I don't know. Maybe he is a little bulky. I'm not sure. What type of runner is he? Right? I'm looking for more of identity.
A finesse one.
Well, then the lighter weight is what you're going to go. If he was made to run between the tackles, let's have him do that at the weight that he's at. If we're going to continue to, hip toss him to the left and the right, let's have him a little bit smaller so he can make his cuts a little faster, a little quicker.
Gingy, am I allowed to say that he is made to run between the tackles, but he decides to be a finesse runner? Because he is built like a between the tackle runner. He just is a finesse runner. All right, that leaves us 2 doors here, Gingy. Time to start someone new, or what the hell is going on with coaching?
Coaching.
All right. We talked about it in Cash or Trash. Oh, I forgot to give our chance to do a dime on defense. My dime on defense is Peasy's interception. Gingy, hit it. Bad Donkey.
Dang, Donkey, you stole my line. All right. I'll go with Ogunjobi. Heavy tomahawk chop from behind. That started the momentum. That was the first big splash that we saw of the game that really started changing hearts and minds that the Steelers might have had a chance here.
Hustle, hustle, hustle. I'd love to see it. That play was awesome. All right, let's get into coaching here. Conservative nature is Mike Tomlin. That's fair to say. I don't care if you argue with that. You're just an absolute Tomlinism lover. Jag. Yes, okay. Just a guy that really got Judy pissed off at Steve Smith. Fun stuff. Okay. Is Mike Tomlin the main cause for the offensive woes? Does he not want an offense that opens it up and risks things to score points? Is Matt Canada more of the problem on the offensive side of the ball? And when it comes to personnel decisions, does Mike Tomlin make the decision as he wants it over a coordinator's choice? So in other words, what I'm saying is the reason Peasy Jr. not getting more time because Mike Tomlin doesn't like to play rookies, or is it because the defensive coordinator doesn't think he's ready? And on the offensive side of the ball, is Najee Harris getting the bulk of the carries because Mike Tomlin wants it that way? Or is Najee Harris and the conservative offense more Matt Canada? So I guess what I'm saying, Gingy, is who do you think is more responsible for the decisions going on, Mike Tomlin or these coordinators?
Well, I don't think that have we ever claimed that Mike Tomlin is going to be an offensive minded guy? He
No,
didn't come advertised as that from Minnesota. He's a
no.
he's a he's a defensive minded coach, right? So can I buy?
Allegedly, he was a wide receiver when he played in college, I believe, and then he became a defensive coach because, well, you know, that's how stuff happens in the NFL.
Can can I buy the narrative that he is a more conservative offensive guy and lines his teams up to win with defense? Yeah, I
I
can buy that narrative.
Then part two, Gingy, is do you believe that that type of football can win in this modern NFL?
Not certain, Donkey. It certainly hasn't looked like it, right?
I
mean,
can't
if we
think of a
talk,
single team I would say can do that and did it successfully. Because even the ones with great defenses had explosive offenses. When you let's talk to Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers, Cincinnati Bengals, like they had that explosiveness in the offense to match with that elite defense.
and if you think about the last time that the Steelers were seriously potent contenders, it was when that offense was explosive, when we had so much freaking talent that it had to succeed.
Yeah, the Killer Bees, right?
Yes. That was the
And
last
the
time I
early
found the
version, like
Steelers
the
to be a real potent
2015 one.
contender. Yeah.
Yeah,
2015,
I hear you on that.
2016. Losing to the Jaguars was a killer.
Lee. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
bring that up. I guess that brings us
Yeah.
to point three, and we kind of mentioned it there. The personnel decisions on this team seem suspect at best. When everyone can see player A goes in, the team doesn't look good. Player B goes in, and he looks like an instant upgrade. We can talk. Broderick Jones is a great example out there at left tackle. Jaylen Warren this year at running back. You want to talk changing out Joey Porter Jr. for either of the two corners starting out there. You want to talk Keanu Benton coming in for Montravis Adams. Why do the Steelers seem to have this absolute fear of playing the younger upside player when it's clear they're the better player, Gingy?
I don't know, Donkey. Do we got these younger players on like a pitch count type of rotation, maybe for their rookie seasons, trying to preserve long term health in a brutal season with 2 Thursday night games?
I would agree with you, except the player I can remember who started from day one when they didn't deserve it was Kendrick Green at center, was guaranteed the starting job no matter what, as a rookie in Ben's final year. And that same year, we started Najee Harris and ran the wheels off him as a rookie.
Ugh. I don't know what to say about all that, Donkey. Pretty rotten.
There are questions to be had about this team coming into the bye week, Gingy. The offense has been sus. The defense has been, let's be honest here, sus. Okay, they still make splash plays, and splash plays look pretty and make people talk about you like you're elite, right? But we look at this Steelers team, they just don't seem to have that elite squad put together yet. And it seems like we're afraid to let the players play aggressively. And it feels like if we're going to hold them back, it's going to be a dark point going forward. And all these complaints everyone has been making are going to come true. Gingy, do you see a path forward with this team to be aggressive and be a contender? Do you think this team has that ability in it?
I do, Donkey. But we have to do something with the pieces that we have on offense. Again, in the context of coaching here, I don't know if we're going to be able to be successful with those pieces on offense. Let's see what happens when we're healthy after the bye.
Gingy, hot take, Matt Canada. Looks like he's not going to get fired. Looks like he's going to be the continuation of the Steelers offense for a while. Matt Canada leads an offense that goes for over 400 yards 3 times after the bye.
I don't find that to be likely. I have zero evidence to support that thus far. Let me see one Then we'll start talking about 3, Donkey. 3. You ever want to talk about 3? I want to see 1. I want to see 1. Then we'll talk about 3.
Fair enough. Gingy, any last points you want to talk about? Anything Steelers-wise you want to get out there going as we sit here heading into the bye?
Hey, 3-2 overall, above 500, 2-0 in the AFC North. I really wish we would have got a game with the Bengals while they were slipping. It looks like they're catching heat last week or so. I hate to see that happen. But hey, can't complain about too much at 2-0 in top of the AFC North, eh?
Not at all. There's some sad points, but as I told you, you're going to have a hard time making me be a negative person about winning a dang Ravens game, playing clean offense, and getting the job done. I'm sorry.
Here.
Ravens Steelers was always under 24 points, always decided by a field goal. If you're upset at the way the Steelers won that game, the Ravens gave it to us. You know what? At the end of the day, the Ravens dropped touchdowns, Gingy. They sure as hell did. But at the end of the day, was it not the Steelers that had to make plays in the second half to get the job done? Was it not the Steelers who blocked a punt? Was it not Joey Porter Jr. who makes an interception after an Olszewski fumble? Was it not Kenny Pickett who led 2 60-plus yard scoring drives in the fourth quarter? Did that not happen?
Yes, and while we talk about, and in juxtaposition to that, we talked about how all 3 units collectively failed the week prior in Houston. This week we can talk about how all 3 units collectively succeeded when they needed to. That's great.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's something to be said. This team had that thing. Mike Tomlin has that. I don't want to call it it's not a big game 5, but he has that regular season vibe, dude, where you know he's going to win them in the regular season. It's just this team needs to take steps forward. I think we're being a little too harsh judging this team and the players on it right now on the offensive side of the ball when you consider their biggest threat in terms of getting open early has been injured, and their biggest weakness has been offensive line. And Gingy, this is a far, far cry from the teams we watched growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, where the Steelers were dominant on the offensive and defensive line. That's just where the weakness is. And you look at the good teams, you can't be weak on the lines. The fact of the matter is, if the Steelers want to improve going forward, the bigs need to play better.
I buy all that, Donkey.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Gingy. It's time for some picks. Laskers ain't here, but he sent them in. We got Baltimore and Tennessee. What you like going on here?
Oh, is that a London game, Donkey?
I believe it is.
I don't know. I've been hearing reports of Baltimore. A lot of teams go over there feeling kind of pissy about it, right? Time change and whatnot. Baltimore got over there on like Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're talking about, how much they enjoyed the trip or whatnot. I like the positive attitude. Give me Baltimore in that one, but that's a crapshoot. That's like a Thursday night game trying to pick a London game. Case in point, last week.
Yeah. I also like. Well, let's start. Laskers also likes Baltimore, and I also like Baltimore. Gingy, I've told you this before. Teams that lose a game that just hurts, they get angry, like the Steelers did after the Houston game, and they just find a way to win that next game if they're a good team. I think Baltimore is a good team. I think they win there. We have Seattle and Cincinnati. Laskers likes the Seahawks. Gingy, you on board with Geno Smith?
See, this is the measuring stick, right? Bengals, the connection between Burrow and Chase last week was working, right? It looked good. That was against a Cardinals team. The Seahawks team is more formidable. I think they're coming in at 3-1, 4-1.
They do have a good record. They got. I think San Francisco spanked them though. But doesn't San Francisco spank everybody?
But last week I see Burrow and the Bengals start to heat up. Give me the Bengals in this one. I think they string a couple together here over the next few weeks.
Gingy, I am on the Geno Smith bandwagon here, and the reason is I've said this before. I don't think the Bengals are as good defensively. Yeah, they beat an Arizona team that no one expected to be good. And let's be honest here, and before the James Conner injury, Arizona was the team that looked better in that football game. Arizona loses their big running back. I was right, Arizona. Arizona loses their running back. Arizona all of a sudden doesn't look the same because let's be honest, when you can't run the ball, you put pressure on the quarterbacks. And Josh Dobbs kind of folded. A guy who hadn't thrown an interception all year started finding the wrong color jerseys. I don't think that happens with Seattle. I think Seattle is able to maintain a run game and just showcase the fact that, yeah, maybe Cincy's offense is coming around, but that defense just is not very good this year, in my opinion. So that leaves us one last game. PJ Walker starting Cleveland Browns because Deshaun Watson doesn't want to get killed by Jay Wobble, Javon Hargrave, and that's baby Bosa there, right? Because the big Bosa's in L.A.
It's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, Laskers likes the Niners. I absolutely like the Niners. Gingy, how about you?
Give me the Niners. They're a wagon.
Plain, simple, easy. Let's keep it that way. Gingy, Steelers win. That means you have a shout out. Hit me.
Ooh, donkey shout out this week. I don't know if we're going to copy each other, but hearken to a defensive legend, Joey Porter Sr. to Joey Porter Jr. You can't be part of the Steelers defense if you ain't making splash plays. Like father, like son. Shout out to Joey Porter Jr. Have we finally drafted a decent corner, donkey?
Cam Sutton! I hate when everyone says that. They just ignore Cam Sutton. Like, seriously? Come on,
My bad.
Yes, I do think we have drafted a pretty good corner. I like Joey Porter Jr. If the reports that Corey Trice looked better than Joey Porter Jr. and Corey Trice comes back as that same guy, maybe we double dip. That would be sweet as hell. I would love it. But yeah, Joey Porter Jr. needs to be a starter going forward, no doubt. But Gingy, there is zero doubt that fat, spoiled, and sassy donkeys pick has to be, Big Chew and Bubblegum got himself a superstar. Miles Killebrew, dude, I don't mention him enough, and his play on special teams since we signed him from the Lions has been nothing short of spectacular, and it's time that I shout out a damn special teamer. I think that's 2 weeks in a row because Brad Wiggin got it last week for coming out after 6 years, stepping up and giving some boomers, which, by the way,
nice.
Another good game for Brad Wing out there. Thank you for your service, man. I appreciate the 2 games you gave us. Best of luck in your future endeavors. But Miles Killebrew, damn, if that dude could be a starting safety, we would have money in the bank, Gingy.
I love it, donkey. I like the pick.
And I guess it's time. I got to let you know, I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter, a.k.a. the X. Your daily dose of donkey with Ginger here.
That's me.
Is the YouTube channel where you can find us. Give us a like, follow, comment. I'm sorry I didn't get some of the content I said would come out in week 5 out in week 5. There's been a lot of sickness going around the house here and things have been busy. But next week, Laskers, listen, you're on notice. Gingy, you're hearing me. You're on notice. There will be a power rankings coming out for week 6. That's after this week. There will be a bug cap to get Bug's take on the season to this point. I know there's no game, but I got to get back in the habit of doing it. So look for that on Tuesday. Look for the power rankings on Wednesday. And Donk Nation, Jackson Jennings, love y'all. Appreciate the support. Gingy, lead us out.
Me and Gingy in the house. We hanging out, playing games, talking football by week. Keep your eye on them towels. Wave them maybe once or twice if you got them for a Ravens win. Here we go, Steelers. Let's keep them locked and loaded. Jackson Jennings, here we go, Steelers.